right, so fuck yes, welcome to the Hype. With me, your host, as always, Brian Joseph. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
I do not have enough coffee right now.
Ryan James.
Fudge, yeah.
Chewy sadly cannot be here today because she is off working in the Superstore. But we do have Ben Kamm here. Hi, Ben.
Hey, guys.
Ben, do you have anything to plug right away or no?
No, not today.
Cool. That sounds great. I'm really looking forward to all of that.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, please do. Make sure you put all of that in the show notes with very fine detail.
No, there will be like a section where it says plugs and then your name and then not really.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, then we'll move right into a where have you been doing. Ben, do you want to go first? What have you been up to recently?
Yeah, I've been really into a digital space, actually. I've been into VR recently, and been playing with that, going to Star Wars Land, more or less, as often as I can, or scare the hell out of myself in some Resident Evil.
Which VR?
Sony PlayStation VR.
Okay.
My girlfriend and I picked it up, and it's been amazing. It's such an immersive experience, especially from someone who comes at things like I like the experience of things. So to have it be so immersive and so on point right now it's absolutely incredible.
Have you played Eagle Flight yet?
I haven't played Eagle Flight. No,
that's like the one game. Like I'm my wife or Chewy, she's obviously on the show all the time.
My wife
has famously told me, no, we're not spending $400 on that until there's like enough games that you'd want to buy. I'm like, okay, I can wait. And the one that I keep seeing that I want to play is Eagle Flight because I love the idea of just sitting in my room, sitting in my living room, just going, ah! Like an eagle. That sounds awesome.
It's like the pigeon mission in like the latest Call of Duty or whatever.
Yeah. So you
Except
should pick
VR.
up Eagle Flight. I hear you should buy it like immediately.
Okay, I'll go do that now.
It's supposed to be beautiful and amazing.
Guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
How's the
immediate?
How's the Resident Evil in VR so far?
Yeah, if you're not used to VR, it can definitely be a little bit disorienting. But as far as like getting you into the state of mind or getting into that creepy old house, it's absolutely on point. Like you go in, especially if you have a good pair of headphones, you don't even need all the lights off or whatever, but you put the headset on and you hear all of the creepy things and it takes over all of your senses, which is something that's previously lacking in like a horror type of game. So to have it be like you can actually turn around, and actually what I was doing when I go through it is I look around corners. So I'll be inside a door and the doors don't just open like old school, you know what I mean? You have to like move into the door.
And lead into it almost.
Yeah, so you have to like lead into the door and then like lean through the door jamb and like try and look around the corners real quietly and like
someone was saying,
and then in the demo nothing happens, which is great.
One of the reviewers I read mentioned that they were trying to they were being chased, so they hid behind some boxes and could kind of look through the space between the box and the wall to watch the person go by in the VR. And I'm just like, this sounds so much fun, and scary. I'm such a chicken with this sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be terrifying.
And like everything that you always wanted to do in like horror games like that, you can absolutely do, and it just breaks all the barriers that you're used to having.
Nice.
Ryan, where have you been doing?
I've been spending some time on Netflix watching some comedy. I want to talk about both. Let me get my notes. Bill Burr's new special, and it's called Walk Your Way Out. And then Neil Brennan's new special called Three Mics. Bill Burr, he's, if you know what Bill Burr is, you know if you're going to like him or not. He just talks about how angry he is and then yells at dumb people in the world for an hour and a half. But Neil Brennan's special is really interesting. It's called Three Mics, and he has three mics on stage, and he goes between them to do different styles of comedy. The one on the left, he just reads one-liners from a card that he wrote. The one on the right, he tells standard comedy, like long-form storytelling, funny moments. And then the one in the middle, he just reveals incredibly personal things about himself. And it's really cool. I definitely recommend that one.
Cool.
I actually had seen that one, both of those. Mm-hmm. But that format, and he's also the guy that wrote Half-Baked.
Right. He talks about that. I mean, that was like his claim to fame, and then he kind of hasn't had that level of success again.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting format for a comedy show.
Absolutely.
It's more of a personal thing.
And
for,
kind of like a reinvention of the comedy special, which I love.
John, what about you? Where have you been doing?
Well, this week, I feel like a broken record. I haven't had a lot of time to do much other than the movie we're talking about today and maybe one other thing. So I tried out the new Nintendo game, Fire Emblem Heroes, on iOS.
Okay.
It's one of those, like, the reviewers refer to it as like a gacha game. which I haven't really explored what that is, but essentially you draw random heroes from the Fire Emblem universe, and they have different star levels. So like 1 star is not very good, 5 is really great, sort of thing. So you draw randomly, and you build up the currency, and you can buy the currency. So it's kind of a free to play, in not a great way, but the gameplay and the strategy is still pretty fun. And for some of the lower level stuff where you're just grinding, you can do auto battle, which means you just hit the button and it'll play out the battle for you.
Oh, cool.
For some of the the less fun fights where it's pretty easy, and the strategy is not too intense. Like from what I have not played any Fire Emblem at all before this, so I have no context. But reviewers are saying it's not as hefty or as difficult compared to other games.
Is it turn-based like a classic Final Fantasy?
Yeah, turn-based.
Cool, yeah.
So you do your
Fire
turn,
Emblem
you
has
get to your little grid space, and then the enemy will make their turn. And you can turn on a menu thing where it's like you can see where you'll get attacked if you go there.
Cool.
So their strategy is fun, and it's free to play, so it's at least worth giving a try.
Cool. Mine will go a little bit different. I mean, I'm assuming that if you listen to podcasts, you probably, and you're even remotely interested in politics, you probably already know about this one, but it's what I've been listening to. It's called Pod Save America. They release twice every week, so it's like Monday and Thursday, and they're just they're former speechwriters for Obama, and they used to all live in Washington, and they used to work in the White House, and now one of them lives in LA. I think the other one lives in New York, and another one in if you have any interest in politics whatsoever, they are a pretty fun resource. They do a really good job talking around the table, and they're a lot of fun. They're not the most balanced, as you'd imagine, for some guys who used to write for Obama. They are very, very left-leaning, and all of their stuff is left-leaning. So if you're looking for more of like a fair and balanced approach, that's probably not for you. But I've been really enjoying it, and after the way the election has gone, I've been paying a lot more attention to politics, more so than ever in my life. And I never ignored them, but now it's kind of like I want to know everything at all times.
The one silver lining of this whole thing is that
Yeah.
so many more people are paying attention.
I mean,
taking
vote
part.
Yeah, I mean, I vote in
yeah.
every single election I have since I was 18, like because I like the voting process, but I usually just kind of do a little bit of research right before. So like midterms, I'm like, all right, so who am I going to vote for tomorrow? And then I just kind of look at it the night before, and now I'm just kind of staying more into it the whole time.
I think more now than before, I've become interested in the midterms and the elections on the lower levels, not the presidency so much, but the things that will keep it balanced.
I've always found that stuff interesting, so I've always just kind of voted with it, but never really like kind of gotten way too crazy about it. But I always like I don't know.
I think some of it is too is that I've lived here long enough now to feel rooted in Los Angeles versus I lived in Chicago for the length of school, and that was about it. I was never really a full-on resident there, so I never felt connected. So yeah, I mean, it's basically caught my attention. Like I'm more focused on it now than ever before.
Well, I'd recommend checking out Pod Save America. It's very, very good. But I mean, each episode's like an hour and 20 minutes, so it's
perfect for my commute.
It's a bit of a commitment because it is, twice a week, so it's a lot.
Is it entertaining? That's always like something like that is usually really dense, and it's hard to actually make it through the whole.
Sort of like Planet Money.
No, these guys have all known each other so well, and since they're very articulate and well spoken because they write speeches, they're engaging and they're funny. Okay, I think it's time to get started on John Wick.
Ooh.
We're a little bit behind the times with this one, assuming the movie came out last Friday, but
Right on point for our podcast.
yeah, it works. We're a little bit behind the hype, but I mean, I'm guessing people are still going to be into this movie on Thursday. It's only been out for 6 days. So
It's getting good reviews.
it's getting very good reviews. Chewy and I are going to go see it tomorrow night. Okay, so really quick about John Wick. It came out in 2014, which I did not realize. For some reason, I thought it came out in 2015, but whatever.
Seems like forever ago, man.
It is kind of weird that it's technically like 3 calendar years ago. But whatever. It cost $20 million. It ended up making $80 million. So I can see why we got Chapter 2. And really quick, the reviews were decent. The reviews for the sequel are better, which I find interesting.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
It got a 68 for the original, and now it's sitting at like 76 for the sequel.
Very good.
Yeah. Interesting. I've heard the one major improvement for the sequel, which we can talk a little about when we get into this one, is that it is much funnier. Which is like,
Oh, I was still laughing. in this movie.
All right.
There's definitely a sense of humor to it, but I wonder how much they're going to boost it in the sequel. I'm interested to see it.
Let me dive right in then, or let's do a breakdown.
Let's do our breakdown.
Dive right in to that exactly.
We'll dive right into that.
Yeah.
So Ben, are you excited for this breakdown?
I'm ready. I went through some options in my head, so I think I got this down.
perfect.
I hope. Or I'm just gonna fail miserably, and that's gonna be good too.
We've had more failures recently than we have in the past. So you have
We usually, let's be honest, we had a good string of successes.
I want to
But
say like almost
generally
a year of successes, and now we've had quite a few failures. But that's
The pendulum always swings the other way.
so. The rules are: I didn't put this in the email that if you succeed, you get to make fun of me. If you fail, I get to make fun of you.
And if you succeed, for God's sake, just make fun of him.
Yeah, everyone likes to
No
turn
matter,
that down.
no matter how much you like him.
We've had I think 2 people out of all of that entire straight year of successes. Only 2 people took me up on making fun of me, which is a hell of a confidence booster. But at the same time, not the point of the game. So, John, you ready to go?
Oh, yep. Ben
All right,
recording.
Ben, go.
All right, so we meet this guy, and he crashes into a building, and he falls out, and then flashback, and then we see his wife is dead, and he's sad, I think, and then we meet Theon, who steals his car and his dog, and he gets even more sad, and then he goes on and learns that Theon is the son of some crime lord named Vigo, and he just starts hunting for Vigo everywhere, and he figures out where his car was, and he goes and just starts killing everybody in a club, in a church. He gets caught in a church, and then he finds the son in a safe house and kills him very boring way.
I mean, you're out of time. But
First of all, it's Reek now. It's not Theon anymore.
Oh, crap. You're
no,
right. It
he's
was
back
Reek.
to Theon.
He's back to Theon.
All right.
God, what season are you on?
Theon.
I'm gonna allow it. You didn't mention that the dad died, but I figure it's close enough.
Or the third act.
Yeah, that's really like you got all the way up to the killing of the son,
Yeah.
but you
But
really hit the
everything
main.
else after that really didn't
Wait,
make any sense.
You missed
Like,
the whole
why
fucking,
is he still going?
The whole
Like,
rain fight scene, the best sequence of the movie.
when
Is it, though?
when
Yes.
Vigo teleports from
Absolutely.
across the
Yeah.
dam thing or whatever
Yeah.
that was.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like the end of this movie,
Oh, I
but we'll
love
get
it.
into that
Yeah,
later.
we can get into
So
that.
bad.
Okay, so we wanted to talk with the comedy, the sense of humor of this thing
Is
first.
he going to make fun? Or no, he didn't make it, did he?
I didn't. There was
No,
some-
I let us succeed, so I was just going to completely breeze past it, but I
Oh,
got so
oh.
used to not getting made fun of. So no, yeah,
Nice
you
try,
get your free shot.
Brian.
I don't want a free shot. I want to like sneak it in when it's better. I don't want to just. It's cheap this way.
Okay.
I want to take my shot when it rises.
Oh, man. That's going to make you nervous the whole episode.
I don't have enough card space for that.
I'll just. They'll just have to listen to find out.
Okay.
Keep
to
listening. That's a good way to make someone listen to the whole episode.
Will he get his insult in, or will he forget?
So about John Wick, I one of my favorite things about this movie was how hilarious it was, only because of how seriously it took itself. Like if it didn't live in its own world so deeply, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. If it like was hammy, I would have hated it. So I don't know if I'm gonna like one with comedy purposely injected.
Well, I think it'll depend on the brand of comedy.
Absolutely.
Like, because if it's more in line with this one, then I'm all for it. 'Cause
Yeah.
this one, like, it's funny. It's very funny,
Yeah.
but it's not like a comedy.
It's dry.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's serious.
It's Keanu.
yeah.
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 Like, it's about as dry as he is.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. He was perfect for this role.
Yeah, he really was. It's rare when that happens. There's not a lot of roles for Keanu out there, but when they come about,
So, which mute lead actor did you like better, Keanu Reeves or Mad Max? I mean, John Wick or Mad Max?
Oh, Mad Max by far.
As
By
just a character,
far.
not the movie.
oh, then I go John Wick.
Yeah, I think
I go John
I
Wick.
think I prefer
Yeah.
John Wick to Tom Hardy and Mad Max.
Tom Hardy did a very good job with very little, but I think it's because he had so little that I would go with John Wick. Because John Wick has a lot. I mean, it's again, they killed my dog, but still, like, I think there's more there that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Than with Mad Max. I'm gonna drive over there. I'm gonna drive back.
well, Keanu kind of has a special skill of being charismatic with doing very little.
He's the most charismatic block of wood in the entire world.
Perfect. All right, moving on. Who else should we talk about?
Well, let's just keep, like, is there, like, we mentioned that we liked him. What is there to say about John Wick though? I mean, beyond just
I mean,
There's
you
he's
kind
a
of
man
hit it
few
on the
words.
head.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's
not-
got to be more to say.
You
about
love
him,
him, even though he doesn't have anything to do in this movie except be cool.
Yeah, and he does that
He
really
does
well.
it great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
feels
we were
like-
saying he does like 90% of his own stunts in this.
Yeah, I from what I've seen, yeah, that's what it looks like. And it's the thing is, like, especially with him doing his own stunts, there's an honest trailer that came out right before the sequel did that mentioned that it's like it's interesting watching this one than you watch all these other like somewhat older guys because Keanu's what in his 50s.
I'm ashamed to not know the answer to that.
I want to say probably somewhere around there. And then you watch like Liam Neeson in Taken, and they cut around him not being able to do stunts, and it's kind of obvious.
Right.
Whereas this one is like, nope, we're gonna get through it, and there's like kind of these long shots that like, oh wow, this is a lot more fun to watch when you can see them doing everything.
Yeah, and I think his age kind of plays well into it because his character is coming out of retirement for this movie, so he's old enough to have been this. We can assume he has this long career of being this hitman, and he's he has all this training still, but he has to shake the rust off.
But you said assume right there, and like that was one thing that really bothered me is I had no idea who any of these people actually were in terms of the story or what they were supposed to be doing or skills that they had.
Did that bother you?
I think little things like that, when they just intentionally leave out details that seem really important, but they like half allude to it in poorly written conversation, like that kind of does bug me.
Oh, I actually liked that.
Where that saves it for me is that this movie feels like there's this like mythology to everything. There's a whole hierarchy that is implied that they follow through with. There's like these coins that purchase things. There's these societies. There's rules, and they don't seem to be breaking any of them other than to like help each other out a little bit. There's like codes, and like it's the first one where it's like, okay, I can kind of follow this logic in this world.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem to break it. It just leaves it vague, which I don't mind in this one.
Now,
and I think it's because of that.
See, where I'll agree with both of you on this one, because I kind of agree with Ben where it's like, well, it is kind of poorly written, and I think that's kind of how they make it work. Because I really feel like if they spent more time explaining everything, we might all kind of go, all right, so this entire society is stupid.
Right.
So this is a whole
Willem Dafoe even says that. Like, what is this game we're playing?
Yeah,
like,
this is just a big-ass hotel of assassins that agree not to kill each other. Like, the whole thing kind of falls apart the more you pick at it.
Right.
Which is what the movie very intelligently didn't do. It's just kind of like, no, this is the universe, enjoy it. And it's like, well, I have questions. Don't have questions. Look at John Wick.
Yeah.
It's like, it works.
For that, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. By kind of having something stupid but not calling attention to it, you just kind of buy into it.
Yeah, there's no like, I mean, okay, we could compare this pretty easily to like Kingsmen.
Sure.
Where there's like so much exposition about this world that they're living in, and like, oh, let's have the unveiling of the gun stuff. And in John Wick, we get like 2 very short scenes unveiling like their secret weapons cabinets, and it kind of breezes over that kind of stuff.
Well, it was actually those details and the details about the world themselves. I thought that I didn't have any questions about the world. Like, it seemed to make sense. The hotels, there's rules. Assassins don't kill each other there. It's a safe haven for the while. But, like, the character detail specifically, and where you don't even really know who Viggo was or his son was. You just know that he stole a car for some reason, and that pissed his father off, but you don't know who these characters are in terms of their own world.
See, I don't want to take anyone's quote here. It might even be one of my own, but like I think there's so much character development in just like 3 lines of he stole John Wick's car. Oh.
Yeah.
Like there's so much. It's like, okay, so we know that John Wick is a fucking dangerous ass person from that one response.
Yeah.
I think it's the first moment where I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was also like, I got actually kind of hyped when I saw that moment happen. It's like, you stole his car. Oh, and then he shuts the phone off, and it's just like, I'm in for a fun movie, aren't I?
Yeah, and like it's like he knows his son is dead that moment.
Yeah.
It's all my son just called me to tell me he's gonna die.
That was also the first time in the movie we heard John Wick's name.
Yeah.
Actually, before that we had no idea who the character was.
Right, and then
I
you
thought
just
they said John in one of the. I thought the wife
John
says
maybe.
John.
Yeah,
I don't think they
absolutely.
said John Wick, but I think she says John like in the video, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know John at least.
Oh, okay. I mean, I might have missed that. Yeah.
And then there was the title card.
Maybe
And then-
Theon was John Wick.
I don't know if you were looking at the spine of the DVD. It's on that.
But to what you're saying is, I think they did a really good job establishing these characters without doing like a Nolan-esque. Like, this is who this guy. This is the head of the Russian mafia who killed this mafia to be in charge. Like
That's why I really appreciated that. In the world of like Marvel Comics, where we've gotten 12 movies explaining why a character is a character, I'm so sick of that. So this was great for me.
Yeah.
And like you said, because the script itself is not so great, they're kind of taking the lantern and shining on other things to distract from it.
Yeah,
Right.
And
I don't want to say it wasn't great. Like I feel like I'm taking a dig at it when I didn't mean to. It's like it's purposefully like minimalistic with certain things. Like,
Right.
and I think it was intelligently done as opposed to like say like Boondock Saints, where it was kind of a shitty script, but they got lucky and people attached to it. I don't think there's any luck involved in this one. I think it was very intentional and it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if it's intentional, I don't want to say bad writing, but kind of minimal writing, and I think it works out.
So who else do we like in this movie? Alfie Allen, you want to talk about him?
I fucking love Alfie Allen.
AKA Theon.
Who's his sister?
I needed that.
Lily Allen.
Lily Allen, that's right. Yeah, the pop star from England. Yeah. I remember she was on an episode of that game show that I watched, and I was like, how do I know? I know her for some reason. I don't remember what. Oh, it's Theon's sister. Alfie Allen's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was really good in this movie.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it just because like, oh, him, but he like really does that role well.
He plays a little shit better than almost anyone can play a little shit. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
And then now in Game of Thrones, he's not a little shit, and you can do more things.
But he did a great job as a little shit in Game of Thrones.
He did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Outstanding, yeah.
And
but
then
he's also
transformed.
he's doing a great job with the new character that he's kind of playing now too. Like he's a very, very talented actor. And,
Absolutely.
I'm hoping we see him more after Game of Thrones ends because
Mm-hmm.
like these sorts of roles are kind of like a one and done. Like this isn't the sort of one where like, oh yeah, let's hire Alfie Allen because he's so good in John Wick, because he's very much kind of he's an instigator, and then he's just the rabbit running away the whole time.
Right.
I think he does a good job though. Like his first scene with him where he's like, how much for the car? Like he's very intimidating.
Yeah.
And not intimidating like I should be afraid of this dude, but like afraid of this dude like he's a loose cannon that's just gonna show up in my house and kick me in the face and murder my dog.
And he also had the air, like you could tell, like with how he was holding himself, like he was somebody.
Yeah.
Like he was important.
Somebody's son.
Right.
He really
Yeah.
held himself like somebody's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much who was the son in Road to Perdition? Was it Daniel Craig? But it's like the mob son in that one, where it's like you see him in like 1 second, and it's just like, oh, so you're a shitbag son of somebody important.
Yeah.
And it's a role that's you can see it in many different movies, and certain guys do it well, and certain ones are just kind of like, you got a paycheck. And I think Alfie Allen just nailed it in this one. Like he was the best. Like if you saw that guy at a gas station like John Wick did, you would avoid him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like,
and avoid him like John Wick did.
Yeah. You just gotta hope you don't have a car he wants to buy off you. And if you
Right.
sell the car. But I think it was for me the scene that really kind of sells me on Alfie Allen being as good as he was. It's when he tries to tell his dad that he can make this right,
Yeah.
and his dad's just like, "No, you're dead. Yeah. You're going to die now. You stupid son of a bitch."
I'll do my best, but you're probably gonna die.
Yeah, like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You fucked yourself over so bad because you wanted a car.
And then
in
He
his
had
defense,
to kill his dog. Like that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the thing. I think that
Oh.
was really what put it over.
And killed his dog.
It's if he just took the car, I honestly don't think there would have been a movie here.
Right.
Like I think he would
Not
just
so
walked
much.
away.
Yeah, I think if he had just stolen the car, he would have gone to like John Leguizamo or somebody, and they would have gone like, "All right, let's get him a car back because you don't steal John Wick's car." So the killing the dog was like, "Oh,
yeah.
you stupid son of a bitch!"
Yep.
And it was a puppy. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Who just takes out a puppy?
Yep.
mean,
And if you
Theon
looked
Greyjoy.
around the house, you see pictures of the wife, and she's not there. You know, use your brain a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking.
No.
Well, actually, why were they all waiting for him at the bottom of the stairs? That's what really threw me off in that entrance scene. There is all the three gang dudes or whatever got in got in his house and were just waiting at the bottom of John Wick's stairs for him to come down, for the
Yeah.
dog to get up for whatever.
They
reason.
wanted to rough him up a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
They want to have some fun.
Yeah.
They,
didn't
uh,
like
Just
his
taking the car
attitude.
wasn't enough.
They
They
didn't like
wanted-
the cut of his jib.
well, he talked back to
Exactly.
what's his character's name? I keep calling him Theon.
Yosef or something?
Yosef.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that- okay.
But yeah, I think that was it. Like he talked back to him, and
Yeah.
and then like, well, you
Disrespect
can't.
them.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You don't talk back to me.
That's
It's
fair.
like I'm,
I'm so and so's son. It's like,
A lot of good that did you in the end.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little more about him. Michael Nyquist, who played Vigo.
Vigo, yeah.
Oh, he was so good too.
Very good.
Yeah.
For some reason, the ending of the movie where he gets killed. The first time I saw this, I'm like, oh, so he'll be in the sequel, and then because he got stabbed up in like the shoulder,
Right.
like, but it was like into the neck. But it's still like in a movie like this. I mean, how many times did John Wick get shot?
Right. Well, let's talk
Well,
about.
he had bulletproof vest when he got shot.
He
I
did.
don't think he ever got shot proper.
I sold myself on this scene
Yeah.
in the movie. So this is the climax of the movie, and they go fist fight, and
Yeah.
Vigo pulls out a knife, and he's coming at John Wick with a
Right,
knife,
right.
and John Wick grabs his hand and stabs himself with the knife,
Fucking awesome.
so that he can disarm the guy.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that John Wick is such a fucking good assassin that he stabbed himself in a place where he knew that he would live, and then he pulled the knife out and stabbed Vigo in the neck, in the artery where he knows he's going to die, because John Wick is just, you know,
Yeah, I buy
has
that.
impeccable aim and knowledge of killing people.
He does have impeccable aim. How many fucking headshots are in this movie?
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody went down at the end with it. Even
Yeah.
if he
Oh,
shot
yeah.
them 5 other times, one more in the dome just to make sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the just a little quick sidetrack. The visual effects in this movie were great. I mean, we got a couple really over the top headshots, like when he takes out the guy with the sniper rifle, coming after
Yeah.
Yosef. But most of them are kind of like just little side notes. Like they're not super gratuitous. Like Don't Breathe had that
Right,
really
yeah.
gratuitous violence, but
Yeah.
it worked really well.
But you were saying about I already forgot his name.
Michael Nyqvist,
Yes, Michael Nyqvist.
Vigo.
Yeah, fucking great in this movie. He plays such a good like reluctant like I have to fight back because that's I'm not just gonna roll over and die, but at the same time I'm pretty sure I'm about to die.
Well, from the beginning of the movie, when he finds out that his son has stolen John Wick's car and killed his dog, he has the entire he carries himself and has the air of like, okay, so I know my son's about to die, but I'm gonna look like a jackass if I don't send out everybody I can to try to stop that from happening. So I guess my son's about to die and all my henchmen about to die and I'm probably about to die, my fucking idiot son. And he just plays that role the entire movie really well. Like even when he's in the back of the car and they're driving away from John Wick and he's laughing, he's like, ha he really got us.
My only complaint with them, and this is more so probably with the script than with the actor, but it's he knows John Wick. He knows him very well.
Right.
John Wick worked specifically for him as Booga Yaga of the Boogeyman. It's like a fucking awesome nickname.
Yeah. Baba Yaga.
Yeah. That's fine. But yeah, fucking really, really cool. The problem is that, okay, so he finally kills Yosef, shoots him in the belly, then in the head. So he gets really mad. Of course, it's his son. He's going to be mad. So he kills one of his friends.
Right.
He had to call him to tell him that he did it. It's like, you just killed yourself.
He did. That was a little bit of a character motivation that I didn't understand, and my assumption was that either he was having a great time and it was like a challenge, like, oh, can I get out of here before John Wick comes and hunts me down now?
Yeah.
Or he just didn't care anymore because his son was dead and he's like, well, I have nothing left to live for.
I mean, that's probably what was supposed to be taken away from it, but for me, when I'm watching it both times, I just kind of have this moment of, you could have called him from wherever you were going and he never would have found you.
So it was a game.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
It had to either be
Absolutely.
a game or it had to be him just going, fuck it, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was a really weird moment of like, you know how pissed he's going to be and you know he's going to come right after you. Mm-hmm. And he will catch you because he's John Wick. So you're fucked. You just sowed your own grave or dug your own grave.
Or, I mean, maybe it was his ego. Maybe it was like, listen...
well, like father, like son, right? Like
Yeah.
ultimately, both their undoing is just where they go into that end of like they let the ego take over just too much. Like,
but
like,
I
the son
didn't
is
see
such
that
a-
coming. I didn't see that coming from the father though, because the second they mentioned anything about John Wick, he's like, well, we're fucked.
I feel
So
like he kind of unhinged a little bit when like all his leverage on the city was taken out.
Yeah,
That's what I felt like. That's when things started to kind of unravel for.
I did.
Vigo.
You know, I forgot about that. That was another
Yeah.
reason that his whole career in life was over. So he's like,
Oh,
let me
yeah, he
go,
had no
let me
mon-
let
yeah.
John Wick take me out. This will be fun.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
no motive or no like the city was lost
Yeah.
at that point. He couldn't blackmail officials. He like
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's kind of like he had nothing less to lose at that point.
and
so.
and it was clear like in the beginning when the cop went over to John Wick's house and there's like 5 dead people in the hallway and the cop's like,
so good.
"Have a good evening, John," and
Yeah.
just walks away. So clearly there's a deal going on.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all
of course.
these. So
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's still kind of my only it's the only moment in the movie where I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like I almost wish that like Willem Dafoe had found a way to like contact him as he was going in. Like,
Yeah.
this is gonna happen, because it just for some reason that's the only part that rings false to me of just like I don't see him making that call.
I don't see that being an actual thing, but I think it did fit the world. Like,
Yeah,
there's
sure,
a lot
yeah.
of stuff that wouldn't actually happen in this movie, but
Well, of course, yeah. But I don't know. For
Weird
some
character
reason, that was the
motivations.
only thing in the world for me that
Yeah.
felt a little bit off. And it's such a minor complaint. Like, that's just me digging for something to bitch about, which I love doing. Who else did we... Do you want to talk about Willem Dafoe?
I mean, he
was defend.
He didn't play it as well as he could have played as Willem Dafoe can play a character. He was a little underutilized, is what I'm saying. But
I would say he was underutilized more than he didn't play it well. I think he
That's
did,
what I meant,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did everything he could with that character. They just didn't give him a lot.
that's what I meant.
It felt like a character that had a ton to do in draft 1, and then by the final draft that we got had been kind of like
I liked
more of an outskirt character, but they'd already cast Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
I liked that in a world of a bunch of crazy people, he was more grounded and a little bit more like he was similar to John Wick. They were cut from a similar cloth of just two very
Yeah.
stoic people in a world going mad. And I like that he just didn't have to be crazy. He was just doing his thing.
Yeah, but you hire the guy who's the best at going crazy to not go crazy.
Right.
I mean, I get it. It's fine, but still, it's like, I kind of like crazy Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
It's the main reason I still like the original Spider-Man so much.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe.
Well, on the same point, like that also kind of made you a little uneasy about him too. 'Cause like, why are
Yeah.
you so
Yeah.
cool and you have a closet full of guns underneath your stairs? Like, clearly there's something not right with you. But
Yeah.
like, it just kept you on edge a little bit. And I think there was a couple scenes where you were not knowing what he was going to do. I thought really helped. Like when Vigo eventually did catch him and got him in the chair, and then it seems like he's gone, he's dead already, and then he just comes up and like pops two bodyguards and tries to put up a fight.
Right.
You know, so it's like I think it worked for him a little bit as far as the character goes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a really good scene. I love that scene.
And it was nice seeing him in the movie.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of Willem anymore. I
Yeah.
don't know why. He's good, but I mean, I guess he's not an everyman. You can't put him in anything. It's either
Well, and when I saw him on screen and he was going to hunt John Wick, I was like, there's got to be more to it than this because he seems like he could do it immediately
Right.
without any effort. So there's more to this. So it actually, him being in there always kind of kept my wheels turning in terms of kind of what they were going to do with him and what he was planning to do.
What did we get on their backstory? Just that he was at the funeral, right?
And that he was friends with John a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, I want to see an old friend or something, and
Yeah.
that was it.
That was another weird character motivation. Why did he take the job and then help John Wick the whole movie?
Oh, I thought it was clear he was never going to do the job.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was like from the beginning when because he had John Wick in his sights, and when whatever that woman was, whoever she was, when she went into his bedroom in the hotel, he had him in his sights. And
Right.
could
Well,
have taken him out.
from that moment, yes, but from the moment he took the job, I didn't know why he took the job from Vigo to begin with.
that felt to me like he didn't have a choice. It was like,
Sure.
hey, you need to kill John Wick. He's like, I'll try.
Yeah.
But who can kill John Wick? Am I right?
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I probably can't, but I'll try. Also shoot all your guys. No, what?
Oh, I missed. Missed again. Missed again.
Man,
You're missing, but getting a lot of headshots on your misses. My bad.
Way off.
I need to get my eyes checked.
Who else? How about Adrian Pilecki?
Yeah. She. It's. I kind of want to talk about her and Ian McShane at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they're the two biggest windows, I think, into the larger world at play, which apparently we're going to get a little bit more of in the sequel. I love the character Miss Perkins because she is like the best of the like crazy, way too cocky characters.
Yeah.
If I can do fucking anything, I kill people for a living. Fuck you, bitches. And whoops. It's such a great thing because like they really play up I love that the way they talk about the hotel. Like it's such a cool thing of like management.
Yeah.
Management won't approve of that. And she's like, well, fuck management because what have they ever done to her? She has no reason to fear them. At the one time she crosses them, Ian McShane just puts her down.
Right.
It's just like what did he say? Like your membership's been revoked.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a spectacular end.
Oh yeah, because it's the thing is you can tell this movie was made with hopes of a sequel but no intentions of getting a sequel.
Right.
Fair, yeah.
So I kind of feel like this might be a missed opportunity. Obviously, I haven't seen the sequel yet, but it feels like this character could have come back.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, we don't know if we're getting one or not, so let's finish this out. And I applaud them for doing that because a lot of movies would be like, well, we're not going to do it, and hopefully we get a sequel and we can bring her back. But this is kind of a cool, and especially because that shows so much more of the larger world at play. Especially that there's two hitmen willing to fire directly at each other, just knowing that their bullets will be lodged in the woman and not kill each other.
Right.
Did anybody else notice that when they're standing there and they fire? Two dudes are firing directly at each other.
I didn't notice. That's funny.
Like, well, the bullet will be stuck in the woman. I'm not going to get hit.
And I liked Lance Reddick as the bellman of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good little bit role for a pretty big actor.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a big actor, or is he just a guy who's done a ton of shit?
You know what it is? He's a big TV actor.
He's a TV
Yeah,
actor,
yeah.
So
I mean,
this was an appropriate role for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's been in a ton of movies.
No,
but,
you're
I mean,
right.
he pops up all the time. So, like, you see his face, you immediately know him. But it's like, he's definitely that guy, like, what do I know him from? I feel like it's Oz or Lost or something like that. And
The fucking Wire, Brian.
No, it's
Fringe.
that video game that just
Fringe.
came out.
he's also in all these other things that we're naming. I forgot he was in Fringe. Yeah, he's a fucking talented guy, too. Oh, he's in Tim and Eric's Bedtime Stories.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, his
that one. That's how I know
His
him, yeah.
Adult Swim stuff is really good, too.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. There was somebody that's very specific that I wanted to mention that now I'm kind of forgetting. It wasn't Ian McShane, although
His wife, no.
she was so
She did fine.
she did exactly what she needed to.
Yeah.
She said all those 10 it's a guy that I always like it when he pops up. This is probably what I was thinking. Oz, not the other guy. Dean Winters. I really like this actor. I think he's fantastic. He was really good in 30 Rock. Like, he's very good in like very serious roles and very comedic roles. He's also now the Do You Have Insurance guy.
Oh, him, yeah.
Yeah. But him playing Liz Lemon's boyfriend in 30 Rock, he was fucking hysterical. And I liked him in this. I liked that he was just the most annoyed henchman in the entire world. Like,
Yeah.
every time he's working for
English,
the Russians, and whenever they
please.
speak Russian, he's like, "Come on, guys, speak American."
He reminded me of like Jon Favreau's character in Iron Man or something for some reason.
Yeah, a much more R-rated, happy.
Yeah.
Well, I liked, and it was a subtle thing where he could do that to Vigo and not fear being like shot or knifed or stabbed or cut into pieces. Like a henchman who was like, "I'm actually your Riker. You know, I can talk to you man to man, and you
Right.
know, like I can be casual with you to a point." But like it felt it felt nuanced more so than most henchmen usually do.
Yeah, I didn't actually read that he was a henchman at all. I actually felt he was more like a lawyer or somebody that protected Vigo for maybe not like
Like
physically.
But even then,
he's
they
like
tend
a
to be
fixer.
But even then, like
fixer, yeah.
they tend to be like yes men or like,
Yeah.
oh, like you're gonna freak out. I'm gonna leave. You know, he tried to leave, but then he was just like, "Come on, English, please." What are you
Yeah.
trying-
Yeah.
Like leave. It's like oh. Like there's that irreverence, like kind of that casualness that I thought was a really nice touch.
Yeah, like, and I think he's one of those actors who plays those sort of roles really, really well. It's like him and like Walton Goggins, who pops up a lot.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
I like both these guys play these like sort of side characters who are a little bit smart ass, a little bit too small for their big shoes, and like I like it. I think they do it really well. And this guy, I liked it all the way up to the very end when he knows he's gonna die and he's like, "This sucks."
Yeah. He like, go ahead.
And even at that point, though, it was funny because that's when Vigo lost it. Like, he was unhinged laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when he's like, "Give me your gun, give me a gun, give me a gun," and then Vigo's just like laughing, and he has a gun the entire time. And it's not until the car's crashed and he's waiting, and he's like, "Here you go," and then he just starts toying with Vigo, just like, oh, puts it in his hand, like takes it away like he's a toddler,
Yeah.
and then he gives it to him and says something. It's like, "English, please," like you're saying. It's like, "Good luck." And that's it. And like you know it at that point. There's no other way out for
I
him.
don't remember his exact response, but something like "fuck you, you Russian prick."
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
like-
Yeah.
And the thing was, I thought he was gonna survive too. Like, he had that moment
Yeah.
of like, all right, so he's definitely fucked up. He probably has a cracked skull. He's got a bullet wound, but he might be okay. Oh, nope, they ran him over. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like-
Yep.
His relationship with Vigo is another thing in this movie that I really appreciated that gave it like a lived-in feel, because it's like, okay, clearly these guys are going way back enough that he can be the one guy who's like snarky to him,
Yeah.
and just everything else about this movie is like, okay, everybody has a deeper relationship than we are seeing on screen. Not
But we
everybody has
get
to
it.
meet for the first time and have quips back and forth. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we get it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's like watching a sequel where you didn't need to see the first one.
Absolutely.
It's very, very well done. So the other thing that we need to talk about before we finish this thing is the one thing we've been not talking about at all, which is the action.
Yeah, the
Like-
gun fu.
Yeah, this is there. I mean, every month, almost every week, it feels like you get a different action movie these days. Like, there's this constant onslaught because they sell tickets. I get it. But very rarely do we get them now where it's like, that was fucking awesome. Usually kind of get an action movie like, say, Resident Evil, where it's like, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it's like they try. Other movies try too hard. This movie didn't try to do anything but action.
This one, I think this was the first American, direct influence that we saw from The Raid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not like totally on point, but you can see it where they're like, all right, so
They
it's
took
more.
they took the right things to
Yeah,
do
it's-
what they needed to for this
Yeah,
movie.
You need to up the fight choreography, and not just that, you need to also up your camera work with the fight choreography, which
Yep.
is something The Raid nailed. And this is the first time I see an American film kind of learning that lesson of like, we want to see more of it. The quick cut days, the super close-ups, we're done with it. We're moving on. Get out of here, Jason Bourne.
Yeah, you're talking about just the style. I was gonna say, I mean, there's plenty of quick action movies in that vein.
Well, because
Yeah,
here's
the Raid
we're-
changed the game.
We're
Yeah.
starting to not
Yeah.
believe those quick cuts anymore.
Right.
We're not believing that action anymore. Like you said with Taken, it was just like,
Yeah.
come on, you need air tubes.
Yeah.
And, like, you're practically there. Like
Yeah.
we're not buying this. You're not going to do a double flip over a guy and bust him, or whereas with Keanu Reeves, like I believed everything he was doing,
Yeah, and it's kind of like
and we got to see everything he was doing.
and it was kind of like what you mentioned earlier. I think because he's a little bit older and because it's a little bit sloppier, you buy it more.
Yeah.
It has that more of a kind of a chaotic thing of like where it feels more like skill and luck are than just he is the best guy ever.
Yeah.
It's a good mixture of the two.
And it's better to see like the only reason some bad guys can get in a shot on him is because they were lucky. Like
Yeah.
it was interesting being like seeing that the villains were lucky at times.
Yeah.
And
I
that was
love-
because it was just pure beginner's luck almost. Like they dinged him.
Yeah.
That was totally an accident.
My favorite thing in this, and like I never noticed it until actually my most recent watch of it, was when people actually get a hit on them, they are unbelievably excited. You
Yeah.
can see the little bit of joy of, bam, I got him. Oh, I'm dead.
It's like me with first-person shooters.
Online one specifically, right? PvP.
Hey, Overwatch.
So for my money, give this guy a Batman movie.
I still say give it to the guy from the raid, but we're on the same.
The same level.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can
Probably not who they did.
they can co-direct.
Well, they're talking Matt Reeves as the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not him.
Well, and now these movies are proving that there's so much you can do without having to edit around it. Like, maybe why I'm an editor is because I like the least amount of cuts. It's weird, but that's also the principle. Like, don't cut where you don't have to.
Yeah,
And I love that this movie doesn't cut where it doesn't have to. And
Yeah.
it definitely goes in trends. Like you said, the days of Jason Bourne are over. So here it
Yeah.
is.
I mean,
We're getting slower cuts.
And I'm sure they'll come back.
Absolutely.
But it's just one of those
And it'll be
things.
something different. It'll be like coming at your face, like 3D. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
And to be fair to those movies, what you miss in this is those moments of pulse pounding. Like I'm running down an alley and I'm in a panic. Kind of like there's like you miss that adrenaline of that particular type
Yeah.
of adrenaline in the Jason Bourne movies.
Like the shaky.
Right, yeah.
But that
the shaky cam, but
is so
that's you.
required
That's
for
you
that.
shaking, and you
Yeah.
can kind of insert yourself into that. Whereas this is like, I want to absorb this action. He's good. He's not panicked. He's calm and collected. We need to be calm and collected and watch this.
Right.
right.
So it fits. Like
That's true. Actually, I didn't think about that either. Stylistically, his character drives the motivation for the edits because he is so calm.
Yeah.
He never panics.
And it works.
Yeah.
Um,
Jason Bourne's very frantic.
and there's
as a
even a
character.
moment in the
Yeah.
beginning where the camera shakes a little bit, gets a little wobbly, and it's on him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very much motivated by him, and I really liked how they did that.
That's genius.
That's
Yeah.
a great point. Yeah.
all right, let's go through. What do you think of the best action scenes? And there's a
Oh.
lot in this.
I was actually going to say this. Let's add to this. In addition to favorite quotes, I wanted to do favorite kills today.
Sure. that's fine.
Mine is the one where he hits
Favorite action scene first. We're not doing quotes quite yet.
not quotes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine is he's in the car and he hits the guy who rolls over the top of the car, and while he's rolling, he's shooting the gun and kills the guy
Yep. through the car
through the
roof.
car
That's-
roof. Yeah,
That's fucking ridiculous.
I know.
But you've wanted to do like you've wanted that in an action.
Yeah.
sequence.
Sure. Yeah.
Like some guys rolling over a car. Why don't I have a gun here?
Yeah.
Like slow the camera down a little bit. And let's shoot him.
It's doing a very serious job of what Shoot 'em Up tried to do back in the day. Of trying to like Looney Tunes action, but like really cool.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. It took
Yeah.
itself so seriously. It worked really well.
If they had gone more camp, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
For me, I got to go with it. It's the. I don't know why I like this one so much. If I'm just going off kills alone, it's in his house. The entire house invasion scene, I think, is fucking
yeah.
great. It's the best like intro. So this is the action I signed up for like ever.
Yeah.
But for me, it's when they're both up against the wall and he knows he's behind him, and the way they decides to kill him is by ducking down and then turning around and firing under his arm and just not looking, because it looks like one of those like, well, I might get shot right now. I'm gonna do the best I can. I got him.
Yeah, of course. With one headshot, of course.
Yeah, of course. Ben, what about you?
I just more for the humor value. I found it really funny when John Wick was in handcuffs in the one scene, and he kills a guy by getting the handcuffs around his neck and then using his legs to really apply pressure to a choke, to choke someone out. Just because I thought that was an interesting kind of
It's great.
twist.
Yeah, it worked.
It was efficient. I mean, it got the job done, but I just had never seen that type of move, because that's also one of the few times I thought where we saw him being more athletic than just shooting people in the face.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of feels like he has like a few layers. Like, I'm willing to shoot people, and if that doesn't work, I have this, I have this, I have this, and you got like the final layer of like, all right, well, I can best you physically if I must.
Well, yeah, because it was cool because that was one of the things that Viggo sold Yosef or Theon or
Right.
whoever you're following. Is that I saw him kill 3 guys with a pencil.
5 guys.
Five guys in a bar with a pencil. Where was that? I want to see the pencil killing. Like, let's.
Yeah.
They just have to talk about it. He can't do it anymore so much.
Yeah.
He's old
He can only get 4 now.
Yeah.
He's got to go borrow a pencil from Betsy DeVos.
Oh,
Topical.
Yeah.
John, did you have one?
Yeah, it was the kind of the club / brothel scene, but where it goes into this kind of smooth.
Was that a brothel?
I think so.
Yeah, that was.
I couldn't tell.
It kind of weaved between, but when the music kind of got this like smooth, slow beat techno with a female voice going, very like kind of casual, and then he's just busting caps at everyone. And it's uber violent with calm, soothing vocal on there, and I was just laughing.
I know.
Everyone around me was like,
so
what
good.
are you laughing at? I was like, this is funny. This is the humor that I like. That like the music is calm and serene.
Yeah.
It's like the soundtrack playing in his head, right?
Brilliant juxtaposition. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just so uber violent. I loved it. And then he shoots that guy in the huge like beefcake in the Speedo, shoots him like bam, bam, all the way up his face.
Yeah.
So good.
The music is so nice.
I want someone to do a commentary on this movie, counting bullets in your clip.
I was actually watching that when I was watching the movie because I'm curious. I'm like, one of the things I heard about the movie was that they show weapon reloads very accurately, like as far as changing clips. And I noticed that like it was very methodical, very awesome. Calculated every time he did it, and he would do it in a time that would make sense in the film. But I was trying to count because at one point is like fire, and I think he always went to like 11 shots, but that's what a pistol can do, you know. So I
wouldn't know.
Curious about that.
And I love the trifecta shots where he shoots him in the foot, the chest, and the face.
Yeah.
Anytime that happened, I was just like, that's fun.
And it happened multiple times. That's the best part about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is clear, like a well thought out, like, all right, he's an assassin, so he's going to stop him, he's going to injure him if he's not able to kill him, and then he's going to kill him.
Yeah.
So it's like if he gets stopped at any point in there, that guy's still out of this fight.
Yeah.
And well, that was the other thing too, is whenever he would be fighting someone, is like there would be a shot, or he would always try and wound them, incapacitate them briefly, and then finish them off. And it was very methodical. Like
every time,
this is what you have to do. And even using that to his advantage when there's a lot of people, like he would incapacitate one attacker, and then finish off the other one, and then when the first guy was coming to again after reeling from the first shot, then he gets blasted in the dome and then he's done.
Yeah.
It was like a very intricate choreography and very detail oriented fight scenes, which were really interesting that you never see like that.
And even to your point about the reloading, even if it hadn't been accurate to the bullet count, it still from a pacing standpoint felt right. Like,
so even if there might have been a little bit off bullet-wise, you can kind of see, like, this is probably about the same time every time that he'd run out of shots.
Because at his clip, every, maybe 5 seconds, he would probably have to reload. Okay, every, 5 seconds, he probably did.
Yeah.
Sort of, based off the gun. Yeah. It felt very right versus other movies, where it's like, obviously, they have auto-reload.
Yeah.
The auto-reload mod from whatever.
It's like James Bond, GoldenEye, where you just lower it out of the screen, bring it back up. Good to go. All right, is there anything else we want to mention this thing before we move into quotes? If that was our favorite kills, time for our favorite lines. All right, so quotes. I'm going to go first because I already said mine earlier, so I'm going to say a different one.
If you take 2 of mine, I'm going to be really mad.
Yeah.
If this is going to be anyone's, I'm going to be very surprised. Mine's a Viggo line. And it comes near the end of the film, after the church scene, and he's gotten out of the church. He's standing in the road with this huge fucking gun, shooting up the whole fucking car, and the car pulls over. He's killed the driver. He's standing on top of the car, ready to kill Viggo, and Viggo goes, "Cool it, cool it, cool it, cool it, cool it." And I just love that's his response to get John Wick to stop killing people is "cool it."
I'll go with mine. It's actually in the church scene when John Wick is getting the snot beat out of him, and he has his hands tied behind his back. And I don't even remember what the prompt was. Oh no, I don't know what the prompt was. But John Wick, beat up, bloody, is like, "People have been asking me if I'm back, and yeah, I think I'm back." And this. It's emotional, supposed to be tense, "I'm gonna kill you" type of swearing, and it's just it's so indicative of what they actually wanted. That was the effort they were putting into the lines. That was it. It's just because you heard that question 5 times, "Are you back? Are you back?"
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's always like, "I don't know," and then he proceeds to kill an entire building's worth of people.
Yes.
So it's "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're back, John."
Yeah.
That's it.
I love the meta nature of that quote that I've been hearing all around the internet back when the movie came out. Oh,
yeah.
Keanu Reeves is back, and he tells us in the movie, he's back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's cool.
I think I'm back. I don't know how this movie's gonna do. It's fun now. Okay, I'm back. Did you go, John?
I didn't yet.
Do you know yours yet?
I do. It's more of a world building moment than a
Yeah.
really clever line, but I like when he kills the guys in the home invasion, and then he makes the phone call. He's like, "I'd like to make a dinner reservation for 12."
Yep.
And I like how that pays off because I'm like, what is he talking about? Oh, it's code. And then
Yep.
there's this coin system, and then there's this guy who comes in and like cleans it all up, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of The Darkness. If you guys ever read that book, the Top Cow book back in the day, there's a couple video games for it too. But the beginning of that really reminded me of one of the characters in that. Like it felt straight lifted out of that book.
There was something about that scene that really struck me too. Okay, so when he like sledgehammers his guns out of his floor, he opens his case and you see several rolls of these gold coins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and he invites the guys over and does the dinner reservation for 12 to clean up the bodies, and I think gives them like 12 of them or a handful of them. And in that moment, you're like, okay, so these coins probably aren't worth that much. But then when he goes to the hotel, he pays for 3 nights with 1.
Yeah.
At this assassin's hotel. So you're like, oh shit, cleaning up bodies is expensive,
And
and
also-
he's fucking rich.
Yes.
And that stash that he burns, there weren't that many more coins than what he had.
No.
So like,
Yeah, he's a dangerous motherfucker.
Yeah.
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 I liked how much it built that world with so very little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 1 or 2 lines, little montage, and
That-
I was like, this is fascinating. There's a whole currency
Yeah.
that we're dealing with here.
And it's not just Bitcoin,
Yeah.
which would be a very different movie.
They'd be on their phones for like, okay, so how do I connect to your, is your airdrop on? Can I Bitcoin you? And that's a whole different movie.
Oh, wait, what's the market on bitcoins now? Shit.
What's the transfer rate?
Changes everything.
So I got 3 days at a hotel of murdering, and okay, so I need how many gold coins for the Bitcoin? And then John Wick's dead.
That joke went way longer than I intended it to. Ryan, what about you? What's your quote?
I had so many. My favorite one that I wrote down first was when John Leguizamo calls Vigo, or Vigo calls John Leguizamo and goes, "Hey, I heard you struck my son. May I ask why?" John Leguizamo goes, "He stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog." And Vigo's response is,
Okay.
"Oh," and hangs up the phone. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, he deserves that. I'm gonna do that some more."
Yeah, I would have
That
smacked him too.
And then I wrote down dinner reservation for 12.
Yeah.
I also liked when John Wick has just killed Theon. Fuck his name.
Yosef.
And
Joseph Greyjoy.
We've ruined it for me. But and then Vigo just gets a phone call and answers it. Make the arrangements. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
need to know why someone's calling. His son's
Yeah.
dead.
that whole scene where he's just token up
Yeah.
as the whole thing's going on. It was like,
Yeah.
Because he knew he
that
lost.
actor
at
pulled that
point.
off. Like,
The one line that nobody mentioned that I feel like needs a quick throw out there is William Dafoe's like defining line. So when he's about to die and they say, "You will go out on my terms," and he goes, "No, sir, no, my good sir, I go out on my own."
Yeah. I mean, I also wrote down no more guns, John. No more bullets. No more bullets. Just me and you, John. Just you and me. And then the next line he says is, "Be seeing you, John. Be seeing you."
Like after he got stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, he
Like,
forgot-
that was the end of it.
He forgot all of his lines that entire scene, so he just repeated Michael Nyquist's.
Yeah, maybe those were all supposed to be Keanu Reeves' lines, so he just didn't know them. It's like he's just feeding him lines.
Yeah.
Oh, that worked.
or a quick shout out to the one with the Pope, or not the Pope, the preacher. The
I don't remember the Pope in this movie.
no. I just don't know the hierarchy of Catholicism. Sorry.
Pope is as high up as you can get.
Bishop, right? Bishop,
Sure,
yeah.
yes.
He's opening the gate. He's like, "Oh, the Vigo will kill me." He's like, "Yeah." Points the gun at him.
And then he watched him kill him from the roof.
He was right. Okay, so review system for today. I think it will be easy. We'll find out. Assassin movies. That is movies with assassins. For those of you who cannot figure out what assassin movies are. I can go first if you guys need me to kick this thing off.
I've already got one in the can.
Leon the Professional.
Cool.
And I go with that strictly based on, like, it was an early 90s movie. And I remember watching that thing and going, there is a much larger world at play in this thing, and we're only getting the small glimpse of it, and I love every second of it.
Yeah.
And it was, again, another character who didn't have a lot of attachments to the world, who finds all his attachment in this one thing, which is a little girl versus a dog. But it's still kind of, there's a lot of similarities between the two, and they're very different movies, but there's still thematically a lot of things that work.
I'm gonna write on that and go with the movie I mentioned earlier, Kingsman. For the world building, I love it too. Like you can tell there's this giant club of assassins, and it's like a boys' club, and I love that idea.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Which one?
The
Mr. Oh wait,
original or remake?
The one with Angelina Jolie. And,
Okay.
Yep. Just the charisma between the actors and just the fun. I had a lot of fun in that movie, just as I had a lot of fun in this. And to see people be very skilled, go through the whole movie and be skilled. Like once Mr. and Mrs. Smith team up and fight back, it's just a bloodbath. And then I just like seeing that, like the similar levels of fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
agreed.
Sure. Last but not least.
Oh, okay. No, I will have to go with Crank.
Okay.
I will have to go with Crank. That one was it was a little bit on the opposite spectrum of this, where it didn't take itself seriously, but I found that charming.
Yeah, it was an opposite kind of like hammy action movie.
Yeah, and it went to all of the extremes, which most of the time didn't make sense, but I enjoyed that as far as movies go.
God, I love
It
I
was
wanted
really
to be
good.
entertained, so. Or Crank 2. I did like Crank 2 when he's having sex in the race, like in the middle of the thing, and yeah, that was funny too.
And the kaiju battle at the end, which is awesome.
I don't think I ever realized how much I like these kind of stupid action movies.
They're good.
They're really good.
Yeah. Okay, so that's everything for today. I'll bring today's episode to a close. So next week, tune in for our 20th anniversary episode. I'm very, very excited for this one.
Wait, you've been on for 20 years?
Didn't you? You haven't been listening? That was the first podcast. No, it's the 20-year anniversary of Lost Highway. So we're talking Lost Highway.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm very excited to talk about Lost Highway. It's one of the best soundtracks to a movie fucking ever. And, the movie's good, too. And then the week after that, we have our very first episode of our new segment of Blockbuster Roundup. These are movies that are really big tentpole movies that we either don't want to spend as much time, or everyone's already talked about at length, or whatever reason, we're just going to do a whole bunch of them in one episode. The only one that I know for sure is on that one right now, or the two that I know for sure that are on right now, are X-Men Apocalypse and Suicide Squad. We'll probably throw a few more in there. Oh, Doctor Strange, yeah, we'll probably throw that one in there too. You're right. But yeah, so we have Alex Marshall Brown, who's already planning on being in that episode, pending schedules.
Cool.
So that should be a lot of fun. She was supposed to be on this episode, but scheduling did not work out. But she really wanted to talk about the fight choreography. But she will be on for that one. And then after that, we have our battle of kaiju movies, and I'm very excited for that one too. That'll be my first time having to judge since we've started our new judging system.
Judging is fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So you can find us online at athpod.com, where you can check out our new blogs. I wrote one that came out last week, and
You grumpy old toot.
yeah. It was it started out something very fun, and then it turned into me yelling at all teenagers. Just
You basically-
going,
You basically yelled at a cloud for a whole post.
yeah, it was.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, it felt like me, so I was
No.
okay with it. I had a lot of fun writing it, and it's very, very ranty and angry, but I think that's kind of the charm of it. And then I believe on Monday, things happened correctly. This past Monday, so 3 days ago, we had our first guest writer come in, which was Elliot Campos, who wrote a very fun thing on Men in Black, and I think everyone should check that out because it was very, very, very well written and funny.
Cool.
And very Elliot.
Nice.
So yeah, so you can also find us on Twitter, ATH_podcast, everywhere else, athpodcast.com, ATHpod, and then email us at athpodcast@gmail.com. Ben, you still have nothing to plug? Nothing changed in the last hour?
You know what? Now that you meant no.
Not really.
Okay, so thank you, Ben, very much for coming out. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me on again. It was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, you're always a great guest. We need to have you on more often.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep. All right, so bye.
Bye.
Blam, blam.